Hi guys, I decided to do a restorative yoga sequence for you today, or for us today. So restorative yoga is a form of yoga where we hold poses for a much longer time than we would normally do in a regular practice. So that could be anything up to 2, 5, 10 minutes, longer even. It's still a very effective way of improving your strength and your flexibility. But for what a lot of people, the attraction of restorative yoga is that it really helps to soothe and repair the nervous system. So it can really help us to relax and calm down the mind and the body, because we become more aware of how we're feeling within the pose because we're holding it for a longer length of time. It also helps us to be more aware of ourselves, so it improves mindfulness, and it is just a really nice way, as the title or the name would suggest, of restoring and kind of resetting ourselves. So it's a nice little gift to give to yourself, and I would suggest that you do it in a room where maybe light a few candles, or if you've incense, to burn a little bit of that, or have a nice warmth within the room. Make sure you're nice and warm as well, and nice comfortable clothing on. You can have your socks on. And with restorative yoga, we use a lot of props, so from bolsters to belts to blocks and all the rest of it. But obviously a lot of people won't have access to these things at home. So instead what we're going to do is we'll improvise. So you'll need some folded blankets, and you'll need a couple of pillows or cushions, and I would say get quite a few so that you can customize each position for you, and make sure that when you're lying in a pose for whatever length of time, that you are comfortable, which is of course is the most important thing, and that you'll be able to hold that position for the few minutes. So when you're ready, what we'll do is we'll just begin by grounding ourselves as we would normally do at the beginning of a yoga class. So sitting with legs crossed or legs out in front, or if you want to lie down, do whatever is comfortable for you. Just make sure the core is nicely engaged, and then I'll invite you just to take your hands together in front of the heart for Anjali Mudra. So we're going to gently press the palms and the fingers against each other. Begin to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. I'm going to take our thumbs, we're going to bring them up against sternum, the breastbone. That helps to trigger an opening of the heart center. Closing down the eyes now, and just allowing your eyelids to rest softly over the eyes. Drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. And just taking your awareness to your breath, noticing how you're breathing at present. And when you're ready, just beginning to slowly deepen and lengthen that breath. Beginning to breathe into the belly. Noticing the rise and the fall of the chest. And just another couple of deep breaths here. And just beginning to tap into the central nervous system, beginning to tell it to relax as we prepare for our practice. And then I invite you, if you wish, to set an intention or a sankalpa for your practice today. So this can be a mantra, a wish, a prayer, an affirmation, positive statement, whatever you feel is resonating for you in your life right now. When you have your Sankalpa in mind, I invite you just to repeat it to yourself 3 times and with meaning. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to begin with our first pose, which is legs up the wall. So for this, you may or may not need a blanket or pillow under your hips. So if you want, maybe do it without initially, and then you can always slide something underneath. And otherwise, if you think you're going to need it anyway, just get your blanket or your pillow and pop it under. So what you would want to be doing is bringing it right in against the wall. It might be nice just to have something underneath there, depending on what you're currently using, if you're not using a mat. And then I want you to come right into the side of the wall. So you should feel your hip up against the wall, and then just begin to bring your body down. So as you begin to bring your body down, begin to bring your legs up. And what we're going to do is we're going to just slide the legs up and then bring the head down onto the floor. Now what I would say is if you have, if you feel your bum is quite far away from the wall, as long as you feel comfortable, that's the most important thing. And you can always move your blanket then or your pillow to pop it under the hips for a bit of support. Your legs don't need to be together, so if they're more comfortable apart, do that. And again, just see what works for you, because that's the whole thing about restorative as well. It's quite an exploring or explorative, if that's a word, practice. So see what feels good for you. With your hands then, you have a couple of alternative options. So you can take your hands out to the side if you have that space to bring your arms all the way out. Alternatively, you can bend at the elbows, take your hands up so that they're like goalposts or like cactus style. Or else you can take your right hand onto your abdomen and you can take your left hand onto your heart. And you can just feel that connection between your breath and your chest and your heart. And then you can gently close down the eyes. Make sure you're comfortable on the back of the head. Again, if you feel you need to, you could always pop a little bit of support under the head. So for me now that feels much nicer, so that's what I would go with. Sometimes it can also be nice to have something, a bit of weight on the hips. Kind of creates a sense of security and safety. So again, try that and see what works for you. If you had an eye pillow, you could pop it over your eyes. Whatever works best for you today. And as you begin to get into the pose, if at any point you need to move or adjust, do that. If your mind begins to wander, which is very normal and natural, just maybe bring it back to your breathing. Or you could begin to repeat your intention to yourself. And so we could hold this pose now for 5 or 10 minutes. It's really nice for the legs. nice if you've done a long run or walk, or just if you have those restless legs. This is a lovely pose to do. I'm just going to hold it for 3 more breaths, but obviously you can take it further if you wish. And I would suggest as you move between each pose to take your time and just keep in that frame of mind of stillness, being slow. Being mindful. And now to come out of it, you just really take your time. You can gently bend your knees down and then allow them to fall over to the right. Just roll onto your right. You could hold here for a second. And then using your left hand, gently press yourself up. And from here, we're going to come into our child's pose, our supported child's pose. So, if you want, you can leave the blanket under the tops of your feet. Quite nice. And for this now, we'll probably need 1, if not 2 pillows. So taking our toes, big toes together, and just taking the knees slightly out to the side. I'm going to take our pillows. I'm going to bring them right in front. I'm just going to bring them right back in between the thighs, so that when you fold down, that your whole front body will be supported. Now, if you find that 2 pillows is not enough, you can take additional folded blankets and bring them to the front. The other thing you could do is, if you had hard back books, you could pop them in under the pillows, and that would bring the floor up to meet you, let's say. So I'm just going to see what it's like with 1 blanket. So rather than kind of rounding the spine, we're going to hinge into the hips. We're going to lengthen and lead with the chest. Take the hands down. And then slowly begin to walk down. And you can take your head then to one side or the other and see what's comfortable for you. With your hands then, again, just adjust them, readjust them, see where feels good for you. You might want to bring them in a little bit. Make sure you're not straining on your neck. If you felt there was a little bit of pressure on your feet or on the shins, you could always take your blanket and just pop it in under your bum for a little bit of support there. And we'll just hold this now for a few breaths. And again here, just feeling that connection with the blankets, the pillows, feeling that support, that sense of being supported. And you can always change your head and move it to the other side for a bit of balance. And we'll just do another couple of breaths here, but again, you could hold the pose for longer if you wish. gently pressing into the hands, slowly come up. And again, snail's pace, nice and slowly. Keep that sense of calm within the body. So we're now going to come on to a bit of a back bend or a heart opener. So for this now, we want to take our two pillows and bring them end to end. You want to have space at the end of the furthest pillow where your head will be able to drop down onto the ground. So put them right up against each other, and then just take your body and just keep your blankets close by. And we're just going to slowly come to lying flat. So I need to move my head up a little bit. So this is very gentle, but really effective. So your head and your neck are off the blanket. So you'll have the rest of the whole of the rest of your body is supported up. So you could even put, if you wish, you could put a blanket underneath your feet. Again, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of weight over the hips. And again, with the arms, then you can just have them as you would in Shavasana. So just slightly weighten the body. Alternatively, you can take the arms out or bringing the arms up. And you should feel a nice but gentle expansion across the chest, across the heart. So it's a heart opener here. And it's really nice for the back of the body. If you felt your lower back was somewhat uncomfortable, you could always pop another pillow under the knees, or just bend the knees up if you wish, and take your feet flat onto the floor. Again, breathing deeply here. You may find that you can breathe that little bit deeper because of that expansion across the chest. So the lungs are less restricted, and they in turn can also expand as the capacity is increased from that deeper breath. Really soften into the floor. And just do one more breath here. But again, you can always hold that for as long as feels comfortable for you. And the last one now we'll do is our Shavasana. So I'm just going to gently bend up the knees. Allow my knees to fall over to the right. I'm going to roll off the pillows and slowly come up. And we get ready for our final position. So you could hold this position for longer if you wish. And you know, for your 10-15 minutes maybe. So really important then that you would be nice and comfortable for the last pose. So taking a pillow, popping it under your knees, and you can always take a blanket over your feet or over your whole body if you wish. Take another pillow then up to the top. And if you don't want a pillow under your head, don't put it there, you know, you don't need to. You might want a second pillow under the knee, so see what works for you. Again, you may want, if you're warm enough, you might just want something over the hips. You could even create a wonderful eye pillow like this. Just have that sense of weight again on the body. See what works for you today. And then taking the arms slightly away from the body, palms of the hands facing up towards the ceiling or facing the body but not touching the body. Feet and legs falling gently away from each other. Taking your chin slightly towards your chest to lengthen out the spine. Closing down the eyes. And here you can maybe do a quick scan of your body, starting at the feet, working all the way up. And just release any tension. Noticing the connection between your back body and the pillows or blankets and the floor. Again, feeling that sense of being supported, being in a safe and secure space. And just do 3 more breaths here. And obviously, if you wish, just continue to relax here. And otherwise then, just taking your time coming out of the pose, so bending up the knees, allowing them to fall to the right, rolling onto your right, using your left hand to support you here, and just pausing here for 1 second. And then coming up to sitting. Taking the hands in front of the heart once again. And repeating your Sankalpa to yourself 3 times and with me. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe. Namaste.